Dipti is here as well. It is all about Donald Trump on the front pages of the world's newspapers today. Dipti, bring us some reactions then to his shock victory, can you?
Well, let's take a trip around the world, Stuart. The Wall Street Journal says Trump's upset win sinks in. It's like the stages of healing, and Clinton supporters are now at the stage of acceptance. It comes, of course, after Clinton and Barack Obama both implored their supporters to keep an open mind about Trump being in the White House. Just to flag a few other front pages, really for their visual effect. WTF on the front page of the New Zealand paper, the Dominion Post, which actually stands for Why Trump Flourished.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Maybe we need to clear that up.
Yeah.
The Sun, the British tabloid, their front page looks like a screenshot from The Simpsons. And actually it is, of course, in reference to that very clairvoyant episode from 2000, which predicted a Trump victory. And just finally, the Daily Mirror with Lady Liberty holding her head in despair. What have they done, she asks.
Yeah, what about other newspapers you've seen in the rest of the world, Dipti?
Well, let's look at the China Daily, which pretty much has a very no-nonsense headline. President Xi Jinping congratulates Victor Trump, while Asafir, which is an Arab-language Lebanese newspaper, says the world is worried and waiting after earthquake Trump. And the conservative paper, the Jerusalem Post, requotes Trump's comments that he would be a president for all Americans. His election, the newspaper says, raises a lot of questions about the diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and Israel. And finally, in this spirit, Al-Akhbar, which is a pro-Iranian paper, has this picture on its homepage with the heading, Israel is happy but a little mistrustful. And in the background, you might notice there's Donald Trump on a T-shirt wearing a kippah and the side curls symbolic of Orthodox Jews, perhaps for the paper, a forewarning of what's to come.
You found an interesting headline in a Russian paper as well, haven't you?
The Moscow Times on its front page says, a grave new world, a play on words, of course, of the Aldous Huxley novel, Brave New World, which talks about a dystopian society. Is that what we're heading for? That might be the implication from the Russian publication. The paper concludes that Trump's triumph has probably closed Russia's road to reform. The paper looks at how the approach to the Syrian war is going to change drastically under a Trump presidency, but also the other big diplomatic issue, that's Ukraine and sanctions.
Now, Dipti's also found an awful lot of soul-searching in the press today. This is about how Trump could have won, despite all indications to the contrary.
Well, Trump's greatest endeavor, the most revolutionary thing he did, this is according to the Wall Street Journal writer Holman Jenkins. Trump's greatest endeavor was his ability to lighten up the campaign rhetoric. And yet Jenkins says he won't be given any credit for that. Trump, I quote, invented almost daily a new episode of the Trump for President reality show that kept his audience from drifting off. That was one of the ways he managed to get people out into the polling stations. The other way, of course, was because Hillary Clinton lost crucial groups of supporters. As Claire Malone writes in 538, which is actually a website that uses opinion poll analysis to blog about economic, sports, and politics, she couldn't win the white woman vote, and that was one of her greatest undoings. It was a premise of her campaign. And if you look at this, there's a table here in this article that shows just how she lost it. White men, white women, non-college graduates, all voted for Trump. And that really was what was her undoing.
You found a very critical piece, haven't you, in the Daily Beast? I mean, they were very critical of Trump all the way through. Now they're sounding very defiant.
A very defiant warning. It's got a tone of a warning to Donald Trump. The Daily Beast says, it will not question Trump's legitimacy to the White House, but they will be loyal. They will be members of the loyal opposition. They'll stand up against efforts to deport undocumented migrants. They'll oppose any ban on, quote, Muslim immigrants. They'll call him out on his lies, hold him accountable, and push back when needed. The next 4 years won't be boring, the Beast says, but it'll be brutally bad for the Republic.
And several Americans have obviously threatened to leave the country, as we've told you on the programme in the past. And there's one website in particular which is drawing a lot of US visitors.
Well, we know that Americans were frantically searching for Canadian immigration. And actually, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Billy Crystal both said they wanted to move to New Zealand. It seems they wanted to get as far away as possible from a possible Trump presidency. Now, the Kiwi website Stuff reports a surge in visitors to New Zealand's immigration website. Just to give you an idea, they received more than 56,000 visits in the 24 hours of the election. That's an increase, get this, of 2,000%.
Wow, that is incredible, isn't it? I wonder how many of those people will actually take the plunge. It's quite a long way, New Zealand, isn't it, from there in the US? Thank you very much, Dipti and Fernand on France 24.